This is Tuna on Toast.
Hey, Bonsai. Who do you think the next guest should be? I think it's the guys. Who is it? Palaye Royale. I can't believe they're here. Holy mackerel, look at these guys.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh,
Good to see you.
great to see you.
Great
oh
to see
my
you,
God.
man. So happy to be here.
What's up? Good to see you. Guys,
First
welcome.
time in the casa. I like it.
Thank you. Are these gifts?
Yeah, gifts as well.
Are you serious?
Just in case you ever want
We're like
to do your
Willy
makeup
Wonka.
look just like us. Yeah.
I like the vibe you got here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I think it's radiating from you.
I like that.
I'm picking for Emerson. String cheese that's definitely that's an Emerson thing.
Oh, I can see you got some Trader Joe's appetizers. I'm actually a big fan of the vegetable spring rolls from Trader Joe's. TJ's?
Yeah.
Place.
These are great. These are like
What is
whenever
that?
you the ice packs that are supposed to be for your eyes.
Yes.
Whenever you're hungover and you have to actually do something, and then you put these
Is that
on.
serious?
Seriously, it
Why
works.
is it shaped like lips though?
You can
They
put
also
it
work on
your
your lips.
Yeah.
If someone gets injections,
Gotcha.
the next day they rest those on your lips.
That makes a lot of
Often are you
sense.
getting injections?
0.0 times. I've had
Those
injections.
lips are looking mighty plump. my
Thank you,
friend.
thank you. Hello. Okay, should we do this?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get the hell in there. Well, it's the first time we've had 3 guests at once. Everyone watch your head, watch your body. This is the best I could do to make
Perfect.
it. Okay.
This works.
Everybody, and welcome to the show Tuna on Toast. It is Ted Stryker. Beyond excited that these 3 gentlemen came over to my house for a hangout session. It's Palaye Royale. Guys, yeah.
We're here.
Holy mackerel. I can't. Every time someone comes over, Tom DeLonge was here, Mike Shinoda's here, you guys are here. I just imagine, like, what was the drive like over here in terms of the conversation between you 3?
No, it was I live so close, so it was like they're super late all the time.
I just rolled out of bed.
They rolled out of bed. I called them at 11. I'm like, guys, are you dressed? They're like, yeah.
I swear, Emerson is just like, he's just not a functioning adult when it comes to waking up on time. So I'm his just human alarm clock at all hours. So like I went downstairs probably like 11:15, woke him up. I'm like, yo, we got the TED interview today. Like you gotta go. So yeah, I'm on. And I see him fake get up, go
back to bed.
upstairs. I'm like, okay, Uber's gonna be here in 2 minutes. And then he's completely passed out. He's like, okay, give me 5 minutes. I was like, Emerson, it's gonna be 2 minutes. He's like, well, get off my ass.
Wait, so Emerson, have you always been, because for a big part of my life, I would go to bed probably around 3 a.m. And I didn't care what time I got up. Now, for some reason, if it's 10 p.m., I'm panicking that I'm not sleeping. And I just want to get up early and do crap during the daytime.
Yeah.
So how does that work for you now?
I go to sleep around like 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning. And people look at me like I'm crazy. But the reason, I have a philosophy behind it.
Okay, here we
The
go.
reason is no one fucking bothers me from the hours of midnight to 8 a.m. So I'm able to just draw and world build. And like I'm working on like doing kind of like a graphic novel, but also this kind of like virtual world for the Palaye Empire. So I do a lot of work just in the middle of the night.
Okay, so it's not like you're out goofing around,
No.
or maybe every now and then, but you're working on stuff.
Honestly, not.
never goes
He doesn't
out.
go
I'm
out.
not fond of people. I've found my most happiness by just being alone and creating.
How are you guys feeling as a group right now? Like your mental health, your professional health, and how things are going to be moving
I
forward?
think we're so thankful for our producer that just did our most recent album that's going to be coming out soon, and that he told us, we came off the tour, we were really mean to each other. We couldn't be in a room with one another. We were playing Reading and Leeds, and we were getting in fist fights.
We were fresh off the zombie tour.
Manson tour.
Manson zombie tour, and then also just 5 years crammed in
Sleeping
our
in our
mom's
mom's
car,
car.
an SUV, any type of shitty vehicle
So
we could
just
get our hands on.
we
so
despised one another.
we were just
And
too
so
close.
now-
And this was when?
This was from like
Pre-pandemic.
2015 to 2018. We were like okay. 2019, 2020 was like, if you looked at me, like one of us, it would just be a fist fight. It was ridiculous. It was full brawls. No one on our crew could be around us. We were just throwing stuff at one another like bottles. it got really bad. And so when we started, we came back home. We were like, what happened? And so we're like, our producer, we went in the studio, and he's like,
And who's the producer?
Chris Greatti. So
Okay.
he did.
Oh, I love that dude.
He's the
I
best.
love Chris. Love you,
Chris
man.
is one
of
of-
course, I knew that.
Chris
by the
is
way.
one of the greatest
He
human
reeled
beings.
us in. He took all of our madness and passion and creativity and just like helped us really, almost like a therapist in a way. Where
Yeah.
it was
Sounds like that you actually really needed that though, and that's not a bad
100%.
thing.
Yeah.
We
but
did.
it was also this like, we want to make music that lasts a lifetime, but also we want to have like relationships and a love connection as brothers that lasts a lifetime.
And I think that was Chris's like big thing. He was like, I will straight up not work with you guys anymore if you guys don't show respect for each other. And we're like, God damn it.
So we have to do this.
I'm like, okay, fine. You
And
know,
he's-
so we just kind of
he
like
said this
faked-
right
faked
before
it,
we
and
went
then
into
we're
the
just like,
studio.
and then it turned out this is the greatest thing we've ever created.
Yeah.
I have a
one of
lot
our
of
most
questions about a
surprised.
new
Yeah.
album, potentially when it's coming out
Yeah.
in new songs, but I want to backtrack
Yeah.
about the fighting.
Yes.
Were you able to figure out why the arguments and almost hatred was happening so it doesn't happen again?
I think the biggest thing was it was all three. It was the three of us, and from the people that only cared about this band from day one was three of us and our mom. So when we went on tour, you're hiring musicians, you're trying to find your team, but you're paying everybody. You know what I mean? So it's a hard thing that you're hiring people to work and do their job, but then also we get the frustration because we were doing everything from managing and doing the agent work and doing everything in our career. I was driving, doing everything, selling the merchandise. We were setting up the stage.
Yeah.
You had no one helping. And so it was all the stress was on us. And I think over time that just built up. We did 700 shows in like 5 years. So
Wow.
there was for 2.5 years straight, we didn't have homes. We lived in a car. So we would go and we're like, oh, when's our next tour? Call our agent. They're like, oh, you're getting $25. You're going out with Stone Sour. And you're like, okay, let's go. And we do the 30 days of that. And then you go to another place. So I feel over time, it just became too much. And I think that now
we're just tired.
we were tired. And the luxury I think we've earned and gained by ourselves of just doing this is doing the hard work. And now we have a great team. We have a great band. We have a great
And seeing
everything.
results has to
Ex-
give you guys the
oh,
confidence and some
absolutely.
validation, like
100%.
driving yourselves around and
And then now selling out the Wiltern. We were passing out flyers in front of the
Right.
Wiltern and selling it out like a couple weeks ago. It's like, or it would have been 2 years ago, but it's like we finally got to play it.
But yeah,
It
it was,
was-
and especially when something kind of goes away for a long time, because that was the only thing we've ever known. And when it went away, we're like, oh, what do we do?
Yeah.
We're
So
super
it
just
was-
grateful and respectful that the positions we're in. And I think we identify, and we always have, but more so than ever, we identify that we're in a role that we kind of are these leaders of our fan base. And it's so crucial to lead them towards like art, music, philosophy.
Absolutely.
Opening your mind to something that's further than your screen.
so you get with Chris, you're making a new record.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is it going to be called? Has that been revealed? Do
No,
we know that
it
yet?
has not been
is-
revealed.
this is the
This is
first
the first
time.
time.
Are you going to tell me?
We are going to tell
Exclusive
you.
We got
on
breaking
Tuna
news.
on
We got
Toast.
breaking news.
Okay, here, hold on a minute. Which one of the three of you would like to reveal the name?
I think Sebastian will.
All right,
will.
Sebastian.
I wanted to do it. Okay, you do
Okay.
it.
No. Okay, go ahead. I was going to Remington, Sebastian.
The album we are so proud of is called Fever Dream.
Fever Dream.
Yes.
Love the
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Love the name.
It was kind of very symbolic about everything that we've gone through, and there's a lot of ups and downs through a lot of things in our lives, from personal relationships to substance to a lot of things, and I think that like embodied so much. And
Especially, just the past 2 years, the pandemic. But it was the perfect. It actually did feel like a fever dream. It just did not feel real, and somehow I feel like just 2 years of our lives just disappeared. But we came out with something on the other end, which is nice.
Fever. Okay, we're gonna get into everything you just said because my brain is
Mm-hmm.
spinning like crazy. But I just want to get some big bullet points going. Okay, Fever Dream is the name of the album.
Yes.
Are you gonna release a song every other week? Is there gonna be like a date when we get 10 songs? What's the plan?
So the plan is we've already put out No Love in LA, Punching Bag, and Paranoid.
Paranoid.
Yeah.
I love Paranoid.
Awesome.
I love No Love in LA
Yeah.
as well.
Shockingly, we never got radio play with No Love in LA in
I
LA.
don't get that.
Which is crazy.
We made the
I was
most
like-
summer anthem track that crossed off all the check marks for radio.
And it was so funny. Like Philly plays in Chicago.
St. Louis.
The only place
That
is
does
LA.
not play it.
LA doesn't.
I guess
does
it
not
really
play
means there's no love. No love.
And it's,
It could be more appropriate.
And like you're judging me and I'm judging you. There's nothing else to do
Yeah.
here in LA. And
Yeah.
the video that goes with this particular song is an A++.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry that radio stations in LA
Yeah.
did not or have not supported
Yeah.
it, but I'm glad.
They'll come around.
Yeah, but I'm glad that there's people out there that are like, this is a freaking awesome song
Yeah.
right here.
It's luckily we've gained a lot of really great relationships, like having Allie from Spotify, and she's been so passionately.
Allie
behind the band.
Hagendorf.
She's
Yep.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And then there's
We
this
share a similar
incredible-
passion for you guys and music in general.
I see it.
love her
It's
so
really
much.
appreciate it, and there's a few people that really got it and saw like a show or heard a track, and they're like, we get it, and we know where you guys are heading.
At that point,
Yeah.
we'll have 4 songs
Yes.
out,
Yes.
and then what happens after
Then
that?
there's going to be
Couple more singles.
There's gonna be 2 more singles. I think there's such
Well,
an
then
interesting
in
way.
between that, we're releasing our newest makeup palette from like our cosmetic company, and it's gonna be a Fever Dream palette, and it's this whole like Renaissance, like beautifully obsessed over thing. So
amazing.
Yeah. No, it's that we go into that, and then we fortunately got in with Yungblud, and it's been a very tough decision. We've been friends with him since 2018. We met him on Warped Tour.
Right, yeah.
And we were both playing at, a couple hundred people, 50 people, 100. It was nothing. And we both looked at each other, and it was kind of like that Spider-Man meme. You're like,
Yeah.
okay. And it just worked. And it was just like, we always wanted to do that tour, and we always thought it would be a great pairing, and the audience would love it. And
So
unfortunately,
I remember seeing a show as a kid. I think like you took me when I was like 10 years old in Vegas. It was like the House of Blues, and it was like Fall Out Boy, Panic at
a
the
disco.
Who
Yeah,
else
the
was
Academy is okay. Go. It was like so many.
It was just stacked with all these favorite bands, and I was like, oh my god.
And it was 2,000 caps. It was like.
And it was pretty small, so it kind of feels like very similar, like the same thing. With,
Yeah,
like,
for the fans,
Yungblud,
they're gonna
us,
get
and
that.
then, like a few other acts on it, and it feels really cool.
On paper, and I have said this out loud on radio, that you guys and Yungblud
Yeah.
would be such a perfect tour together.
Absolutely.
3 super duper rock stars. He's a super duper rock
Yeah.
star. From everything from the attitude, the clothes, the music, the way it sounds, the way you conduct yourselves. This is going to be exciting. I'm going to ask something that it could be perceived as negativity, but I need the answer.
Of course.
You had a headline tour
Yes.
that you had to say, guys, I'm sorry, we're not going to do this. And because your fans are really amazing and so passionate, some got they got angry at you.
Yeah.
So how do you take that in, and what do you say to them?
It was something we've worked so hard. We've always said this. We worked so hard, and the only reason where we are today is because of our fans.
Sure.
And we, going to Europe, and the whole tour was sold out already. So we didn't cancel everything. We were able to keep all the UK dates in like Russia and Ukraine, and there was few dates that were after the Yungblud dates, so we were able to still do it.
yeah, the amount of the behind the scenes work
I had
that
to
this
do.
man
I was like,
obsessed
I was in
over.
shambles, literally like calling I was like,
Screaming on the
guys,
phone. He's like,
we
we can't
cannot
let
do this
down the
Yungblud tour. We
fans.
cannot do this. And they're like, you have a deadline. You have 3 days to do this. I'm like, can you please give me an extension for 2 weeks?
3 days to do what now?
to prove, say yes.
Okay,
to,
got it.
So
So now you got 3 days. The
It was-
clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
and
go
so
on.
my label's calling me, my agents are calling me. You need to do this. This would be a dumb decision if you don't do this. You're gonna fuck up your career if you do this. Blah blah blah. blah.
Ay, ay, ay.
And so it's like all this stuff coming in there, and we knew how great the tour will be because today was a perfect example. All pre-sale sold out in 2 minutes because of the pairing.
Nice.
But we knew with doing that we were gonna let down a lot of people, and luckily I was able to save a lot of dates, but also we have a plan for all those other shows. There's so much more down,
Yeah.
which we weren't allowed to announce yesterday. So it made us look like the bad guys.
We can't announce it yet, and so we just look like we just canceled with no
I mean,
backup plan for
we
the
can
fans.
quietly say it. There's a massive EU tour that's about to be announced.
Yeah.
So all that like wave of like negativity is like
it's gonna
we
go
just
away.
had to embrace it for the day, I guess.
It hurt because
But-
it's like we let them down. There's a lot of fans that like bought, they're all friends with one another. It's a different thing that instead of you bought
They're getting hotel rooms
with
and,
their friends, it's the whole
No,
thing.
I get it.
It's a
Right.
financial
And
thing that
so-
they're putting into, and like I feel so bad, and like on it that was literally eating me up every single day. Like even yesterday, I'm like, this should be so exciting, But I'm like literally calling. I'm like, did we make a mistake? Did we like piss off all our fans? And
Yeah,
it's
as big of a day yesterday was, it kind of took a toll on all of us.
It hurt.
It's kind of crazy. Like,
but it shows how
seeing,
much you care about them. that
Exactly.
It goes as much as they care about
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
You probably care about them even more.
It's true.
Because like you know, we also had like our old touring agent. He was supposed to book our U.S. tour
Yeah.
for January, but that completely slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
We were supposed to do it
So-
actually in 2021 summer, so it was just supposed to happen. Those dates we already had pre-booked for America that were from the 2020 Bastards tour never happened, and then we were supposed to do it in the summer, and that's when we told our fans we're touring in the summer, and then we call our agents. We're like, "What are the dates?" They're like, "We didn't lock anything in," so we had to fire those agents, get new agents. Then it was,
And then
it was
luckily
this
the new
whole
agents got the Yungblud thing, so
offer.
we can appease the fans in the U.S. because we haven't done a U.S. tour in a very long time.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to appease them, but we also at the same time had to disappoint some EU fans, and so it's just this constant battle, and I just see how much of a toll even like Sebastian busts his ass,
Yeah.
just like getting everything.
Love how you
set
guys are
up
still so hands-on,
perfectly.
though.
Oh my
And so
gosh,
when
they-
like there was
yeah.
some negative feedback yesterday, it just like I've never seen him.
But
so
guys, I have a
crushed,
question. Emerson, I'll go to you on this. When an agent or someone in your camp says, "Oh, you're gonna ruin your career if you don't do this," how do you tick up here when someone says that to you that works with you?
Let me explain this in the best way I possibly can. I'm the person that doesn't really care what I have to say. It's Sebastian's the mouthpiece on what we should do technically. You know, I feel like my role in the band and like my thinking process is to care about the art, the music, and the fans. Anything past that, I have a difficult time communicating with people. You know, so that's where like the three of us, it's a absolute blessing because we all take our different roles. You know, to me, it's like the most important part is to make long-lasting life memories that we can all like have. Like, we need escapism. We've all been through the worst like 2 years of our lives. You know, I think it's so crucial for us to like come together in live music and have that like almost spiritual energy again.
Right.
So for me, it's like the most important bit is to just get back into rooms with the people we love.
Okay, so positivity. All these tickets are being sold. You're going on the road. It's you guys in Yungblud. When you met him at Warped Tour, and you guys were playing in front of, as you said, not the biggest of crowds at that time. What did you first think of that dude, and what really got that friendship going?
Honestly, that guy. I gotta say, I love him so much because he put like this fire in my belly that I've never had before. So I remember there was like a couple shows because Warped Tour, you never know who's going first or that type of situation.
Which is great. There's no headliner. It's just everyone plays at different time slots throughout the tour.
And so I remember he goes on, and I was like standing side stage at the set, and then he plays, and I see the crowd going off. He's a fucking phenomenal frontman, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I gotta up my shit.
Like,
I was like, God damn
Remington's
it.
already hanging from every rafter in the world, and he's just like,
I think
what do
that
I
was
do?
the show that he climbed a mountain. That was
I
next.
climbed a
yeah.
mountain.
Yeah, you
There was
climbed a mountain,
next to the stage.
and he climbed a mountain. Yeah.
So he honestly, just how great of a performer that he is. He's pushed me so much in my frontman craft. So I gotta.
I think
thank him
this
for it.
tour is going to be wild. 'cause
It's
they
gonna be
will-
everyone trying to
they'll
one-up.
continue. It'll be like a horse race. They
we'll
continue to like
continue
push each other.
and then by the end of the tour, I don't even know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We'll be like hanging like with a full acrobatic team from the ceiling. I don't know.
Wow. And then by the time you guys go on the road, which will be in 2022, Fever Dream will be out. We're going to have all the songs. How did you guys
Yep.
go ahead?
The songs will all be out like at some point in we don't have a date, but we're gonna be 2022. We'll definitely have all of them out.
Yeah.
Right.
For what?
For the whole album.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can't announce the date just
No,
yet, just because
yeah.
it fucking changes every goddamn week.
I know.
But we do know the name of it.
Yes.
Yes.
We know that the title track and video.
Yes,
with
that
the
will be
song
out
are
before the
coming soon.
Yungblud for sure. So
Okay,
yeah.
this is exciting.
Yeah.
And then when you recorded this album, when was the start date of it? Was
So
it
this-
after COVID?
So we came home from 2020. We were in March. We everything happened, and we were in Poland. Last show we ever played, and we flew home.
Was that in March then of 2020?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the Bastards album came out in May.
May.
Of
May of
20?
2020.
Ay, ay,
So
ay.
we were doing the we were doing the prep tour for the Bastards album, and that the European and American tour was supposed to lead up to the release of it. And
Okay.
then so we were able to do, Shepherd's Bush and all these great venues in Paradiso in Amsterdam. And then it was like halfway through that, you have to go home. And so we're like, okay, we're going to go on an American tour in 2 weeks. It's
guys,
fine.
it's 3 weeks. It's gonna be over.
Yeah.
It's like, go enjoy your vacation. I was like, yeah, 3 week
Fine,
vacation.
we're gonna
absolutely.
miss out on,
I was
like,
I haven't
Russia
been
and
to
stuff.
my-
This
my
sucks,
house
but-
anyway. And so we go home, and then we're like, and then we keep getting calls from management. They're like, yeah, it doesn't look like this thing is going away. So, we're just, do we delay the record? I was like, no, I have a good feeling about it. And then, so the record, I was like, it's gonna be quick.
Ali,
I'm like,
Sean, the cameraman's laughing
I'm
over
like,
there.
I'm like, the government knows what's best. Like, they're telling us everything that's factual. They're like, it's gonna be no time. And then so we're in May. The record's about to come out. We can't even Uber to Sebastian's house because like there's no Ubers because of COVID. And then I was like, okay, the record's coming out today. And then also it was during the Black Lives Matter protest.
It happened that day.
It happened that day. So that was also the day where everyone kind of went radio silent on all platforms.
Sure.
And that was the day the record came out. So
we decided to suspend all promotion.
we were like, okay, the record,
record
came
came
out
out
today. We can't stop it because
It's already in the
out
system,
of our hands,
you know?
And so we just didn't promote the record for the first week it was out.
Yeah.
And
I
we're
think it was
like,
longer than that. We
Yeah.
must have not talked about it for like
A month.
3 weeks,
Yeah.
maybe a month
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the craziest thing to
You
do.
put out a record
release-
you worked so hard on, and then it comes out.
but obviously there was a more important pressing
Yeah.
cause.
Right. Now,
So-
everyone understands that line you just said. So that being said, though, what were your spirits like as professionals at that time when you took so much time making this album,
I think
and then all of a sudden the world is totally changed?
I think I can answer this one. Many times in my life, forced mandalas has happened to us, meaning you create something so exquisitely beautifully, and the moment you finish it, you destroy it. And I've been through this many, many times in my life with art and files missing and all this stuff. And I think we looked at this opportunity as like, okay, we did that. Maybe this is like the world saying a forced mandala, which actually led us to this rebirth of almost full circle where we got in touch with our classical music love.
Yeah.
Like we all play like classically piano. And that was something in the Bastards that we never really touched on. We actually strived away from it. And this time around, we were almost able to like fall in love with music, but also like the intricate songwriting nature. And so like literally Fever Dream is probably one of our most prized pieces of work we've ever done in our lives. And I think that's only achievable when you have more than a year to work on something.
Yeah, because we've never had that luxury before. And obviously, right when the record came out and the Bastards record came out, it was, we found out the next week, obviously without any promotion on our part or anything like that, it actually went #1 in rock and the #1 album in alternative. And I was like, shut the fuck up. I was like, no fucking way.
It still did well.
I was like, it did great. And I got a plaque in my house. I'm so proud of that thing. And then I remember like immediately after, we were getting like tweets like a week after, like, okay, when's the next record? I was like, what do you mean when's the next record? I was like, and just listen to it. Right. I was like, we just put it out. And then we're just like, we all kind of sat down and got to talking. We're like, we're not doing anything. Let's just make the next record.
And
like, why not?
I called up Chris, and I was like, hey, we want to make a record. And he's like, all right, well, let's do the first song. The first song we wrote is this song that our label was like, everyone there, they're like, you wrote your hit. Like, that's the song that's going to come out during the...
It felt like the first time like my label was like,
Really
it's like
proud.
like a parent. It's like the first time they tell you you're proud of you. I was like, wow, we've never had that.
And that was
before.
the first song that we did with Chris. And we're like, all right, let's get moving. Let's start
And
making
what was the
music.
song you did with Chris?
So that one's called...
We can't say it?
Can't we say it?
Stop you for 1 second here. The label says to you, oh, we think you guys wrote a hit here.
Yeah.
And you said, oh, it's like a parent being proud of you.
Yeah.
But I hope you guys are able to understand what you have created on your own with not a ton of radio play and getting this fan base around the world. You've achieved more than 99.9% of other bands. So while your label said, oh, you got it, if those other songs you have created weren't good, no one would come to the shows. You've already created hit songs for people that
Thank you.
the audience sings to you when you're playing. So I hope you get that.
I think we're being
like
they're
mentally,
being
it's like
they're being modest, but I'll be the one to speak for all of us. We're aware.
Okay.
but I mean,
Like when someone says to me like, "Hey, we helped you sell out the Wiltern," I go, these
No.
3 sold out the Wiltern.
We were there. we played LA. So we used to pass out flyers on Sunset Boulevard. You know, like we were doing that. We thought that's how you become a successful band because our
And
favorite
bands
bands
did
did that.
Yeah.
I remember
And,
getting, I
yeah.
think, an Incubus fly. Like,
Yeah.
I get all, flyers from all the bands, like in the late 90s.
And
early
it just
2000s.
died. It just died down.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's people are like, how many TikTok followers do you have? And it's like, it's a great tool. It really is.
it's
But
a good platform.
the
but-
ticket numbers are not anywhere. If you have 10 million followers, you're probably selling 200 tickets. It's like a weird
sometimes it just
thing.
doesn't translate.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I think.
We have physical
it does.
the connection
Even,
of the human connection
even my
there, so.
producer actually told me this on the phone the other day because we always talk. So he just called me. He's like, Remington, you just letting you know before this record comes out, the amount of plays or the amount of views or the amount of streams doesn't make it not a good record. That doesn't take anything away from the art itself. If you can go to bed at night happy with what you created, you won. I was like, I need to hear that.
Quote, Chris.
That's why Chris Greatti's quotes are the greatest quotes of all time. Like,
That's up there with like a
Yeah.
Rick Rubin quote, who
Yeah.
puts up like a quote every 2 weeks on his Instagram.
Yeah.
I always save it because then he deletes them.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, and I feel, and I mean this, when you're putting your heart and soul into something artistic, just putting it out there is a success.
It really is.
Just saying like, I'm done messing, tweaking with it. The world can have it, and it's going to get judged by everybody.
It's a beautiful timestamp in the history like that will never be taken away from you. And the moment's out there, it's there forever.
Like
And
for instance, like this song Fever Dream that's coming out, it was that feeling where it's the greatest song we've ever written.
Yeah.
And
that 100%.
it's weird. I felt like I was born to write this song. And it's the weirdest thing, but I've never been prouder of a piece of work. in my
That's
entire
so
life.
cool, man. So when it was being produced and written, were you at home solo thinking of how it should go? Were you guys?
So, process-
I set up
yeah.
the entire recording studio in my living room just because like studios weren't really
Yeah,
renting out
we're
at the time.
big believers in not doing traditional studios. I feel like
So
the
I just
energy
wanted
is
to live
too. Like,
in the studio. So we just Chris pretty much packed up his stuff from his house, just set it up in the living room. Emerson lives right below me, literally, because there's like this little unit below me.
We
and then,
have two pianos in the room. We have a grand piano and an upright piano.
and then
like,
we literally just mic'd the whole house, and then I set up a little mattress upstairs for Chris. So we literally were in the house for like 6-7 months, just so much Postmates.
and all
If you want to know where the budget of the record went,
It
it,
was
wasn't to studio time. It was to fucking
it
Postmates.
started off as like 1 meal a day and then 2 meals a day. And we were reaching about 4 meals a day.
And then I love Chris to death, but this motherfucker, he was like, "Should we get sugarfish again?" And I'm like,
my
"No, we can't
God.
afford sugarfish every day."
Sugarfish is being modest. He would be like, let me have chicken fingers for breakfast, chicken wings for lunch, chicken tenders for. I'm like,
Love you, Chris.
how much Chick-fil-A do we need to order or Dave's hot chicken?
So definitely that's where most of the budget went. But we really just lived inside the studio for so long, and we never had that because when we make records, we're so on the road all the time.
making it 2
We
weeks.
have 2 weeks here to record vocals. We have 2 weeks here to make more songs. So this was the first time we actually got to sit down and create a body of work.
And
over
you're
a
getting
year.
along at an all-time high
It was
right
great.
now.
It was
crazy.
great.
Wow.
It was.
Is it because you think you guys have gotten your emotions intact when it comes to the three of you that you were able to be so creative? With this
Our
stuff?
emotions are still.
It's all over the place. I think what it was
We're
is.
so sensitive.
I think what it was is us three and Chris all catching a wave on a boogie board.
Oh yeah, we did
So,
do the writing
the
session.
writing sessions
in
were in Malibu. We were in a beach house in Malibu
And you
for
can't
3
get-
weeks. You can't be mad in Malibu
It was like
on the
in
beach.
July on the beach in Malibu. I'm like,
That was the
no
writing.
one can actually get upset because the second someone gets frustrated, they're like, go swim in the ocean and go
And then
smile.
come back.
And then it was
That's it.
fantastic.
You
we
guys wear a
locked her.
wetsuit when you go in the
No,
ocean?
we just went. It was
You on the
great.
Pacific Ocean in Malibu with no wetsuit.
Yeah, I mean,
You guys are real men. I'm a wuss. I'm like, I'll stick my toe in, but I ain't going in unless you give me a full suit. Give me a real
love it.
full bodysuit. Maybe
It was
I'll
it was
jump in.
perfect. It was like the most. It was
one of the happiest times. This
I
It was
will
like
honestly,
going to
weirdly-
summer camp to make an
Yeah.
album, pretty
Yeah,
much.
this process of the record, I think it really honestly saved us from this whole pandemic because
Yeah.
honestly, we were going through a really tough time, and I was just partying all the time. I'm like, I didn't know what else to do because I just kind of was partying the same amount that I do on the road, but without shows, it kind of seems fucked up.
Because at the beginning of the pandemic, like I was able to finish up the graphic novel series, and I was like trying to figure out the best way that we could feel like we were in the rooms of all of these kids without actually being there. So like while you read the graphic novel, there's like a 2-hour soundtrack that goes along with it, and then you burn incense. So I wanted to like affect every sense that you could. And then so like it would almost be like we're in the room with you. Wow. And so like the second one should be coming out next year, but to me it's kind of like a portal into this like Palaye Royale world, you know. Want to make this like trilogy series that people can just get lost in.
Sebastian, are you personally at the point in your career that you thought you would be right now?
Oh, I thought we were going to be so much further along.
Really?
I will allow that with like I knew it's weird. It's whenever we hit these milestone markers in our career, you know, like doing for LA, it's an easy thing for me to see mile markers because it was like we passed out flyers in front of the El Rey, we passed out flyers in the Fonda, we passed out flyers in the Wiltern, and we went from El Rey, sold that out, then did the Fonda, sold it out, then so the Wiltern, sold it out. So every single time we kind of level up, it feels like that little sense of it. And I think the biggest thing that like made me regardless of like not exceeding all expectations of what I thought or I was going to be or who I was going to be, it was like I'm still proud of what we've done. So I'm not sitting here and be like, but I'm always looking forward. So I'm never satisfied, which I think allows for me to be a little bit manic about wanting to create. And always I'm like, we'll finish a song. And I'm like, guys, we're going to do something else. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We did
So
a music
funny,
video.
it's like we have no new songs. I'm Sebastian. We have an entire unreleased record.
I was literally telling them
about?
tomorrow we need to go write in the studio and we need to like write more for like the next album after Fever Dream.
I was like, okay, but
I think it's good though when you creatively, when you don't have a finish line in mind, you just keep running, you know?
and then I feel like I can kind of speak for all of us. For some reason, mentally, we're still all just traveling in our mom's car.
Yeah.
Just being the one of 5 opening band. So mentally, I feel like we're still there.
It's bizarre. I had
it's
the conversation
definitely
this
strange.
morning.
I don't
Our the director of the Fever Dream music video is this amazing guy, John Luigi. He's from Italy, and he called me and he's like, I love that you're so hands on and you're wanting to like be a part of everything you guys did. Your story. He's like, I can tell no one's ever helped you because you're the one. Like, do we have the right wardrobe person? Do we have the art department? Do we have the DP? Do we have this? Like I've learned every little avenue of everything that is in our career, which I've learned all the skill sets to do it, from even editing our videos, doing this. And he's like, Sebastian, though, I hope you realize I got you. And I was like, oh, that's the first time. It's always like me like picking up C-stands on a photo shoot. I'm like, why am I doing that? We're past that point, you know?
It's
Why
funny
are we
'cause,
on
like,
stage doing the Wiltern and I'm moving gear still? Like that, we shouldn't be moving and lifting.
Do you trust
amps.
other people in your
I
life
do.
outside of your profession? Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're so hands-on with this, but
Yeah.
in your outside life, do you trust people to get it done right?
Outside of the profession, like that's a strange thing. It's like I've always had that conversation with my fiance. She's like, do you just like doing all the work? But I'm like, Remington, Emerson, they're like, she's like, you need to get all of your stuff like before the passport office. And Remington, Emerson's like, Sebastian will handle it. You know what I mean? And so it's always been on me and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But also there's only a few people I can actually trust to run with it. So
I think we've just worked with so many people that like creatively we've been let down, which is okay. It's not their lives. It's not their passion. It's just a job that they were doing, which I think in turn then
Chris
led
is one of the
us-
few people that actually
Chris
take this
is one of the
as
few.
serious as
but like down to like the art or whatever. It's like we've had to step into those roles. Even when we were kids, like we didn't see any acts at the time that looked like this, and we were like, well, if you don't see something in the world that you desperately want to see, you become it. So I think that's just led us to being more like to educate ourselves every day.
Also, I think we're just so freaking precious about the art and the music and everything. So it's like it's kind of hard passing it off.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like
The
I
reason
know
we
that
wake
feeling
up.
also in my
Because
little super small, much smaller bubble than you, but I know exactly what you're
So
talking
I'm like,
about.
if
It's
it
your baby.
doesn't come out the way that I've envisioned it from day one, I'll just be disappointed. You know, and then I'll see the video in 5 years. I'm like, I still wish I could have changed that.
Yeah.
So it definitely is a lot more work, but it's so much more rewarding when your vision and everything that you've seen from the first note to finishing an album and the visuals is perfect in your way. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but at least it's the only person you can blame is yourself.
Right.
Which is, I'd rather take that.
I think we've also had so much along the way of people just letting us down. There was one tour we were on, and there was 15 people like quit like immediately, and you're just like, guys, like this is your job to drive the bus, and we're in New York City. I mean, the bus driver.
Well, we're pretty hard to
we're,
deal
we're
with.
very difficult to work with, but the bus driver quit, and I had to drive the bus from New York City to Orlando by myself, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll just do it. And everyone's like, we're gonna cancel the shows, we'll get a new driver. I'm like, no, I'll just do it.
Well,
Because it's
Sebastian
easy.
drove
I
a
drove
tour
the
bus.
bus with the trailer, and of course, not sleeping because I was out all night while I got this
So it was
news.
New York. You party after New York. We had an off day. I was going to sleep at the bus all day.
And then we get
And
back
then-
at like 4 a.m, and there's the bus driver's gone, and I'm like, I have to drive, and so I drove, and I'm
From New York
from New York.
to Orlando.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
that you did that.
Yeah.
But I want to know what drove the bus driver to not want to work with you, because you
that-
said that.
I
You,
think that was me.
Emerson.
oh, what'd you do, Emerson?
I was
He
a
wanted
little-
to go. He wanted to come out and party with us that night.
No,
It was something
no.
like-
What it was, I was in a mood as usual.
He's always he is a bad.
I think being a drummer, you're just naturally angry, and like being away from drumming for 2 years, and when I came back to it for the Wiltern show, like I destroy my shit. You know what I mean? And I think it's just when you're doing something that physically draining, you're just a bit like on edge. But we finished our New York show, and all I wanted to do was take my bike and like Grand Theft Auto style, and just go around the city and just not be bothered, listen to classical music. And the driver like stopped me right in front of my bicycle before I was leaving, and he had this like confrontation with me, and I was like, I don't fucking need you anyway. And they just kind of walked off, and I was like, oh, I think that was my fault.
I'm like, thank
He
you.
walked off
Emerson.
and never came back.
Yeah.
He went
Yeah.
right into the
He's
sunset.
like, and then Emerson comes up. He's like, fuck.
Yeah, I was like, I think I messed up. Hey, Seb, you want to drive?
That guy's inspiration. His new album is because of you guys. That
yeah.
old whoever was driving the bus is
Absolutely.
working on
But
that.
I think we've gotten a lot better just because like I think because the only way we could pay for tours at the time, it doesn't matter, because we had to do VIPs every tour. So
The
it'd
fans
be
were the only reason why we
meeting 200 kids before the show, playing
We're a
the
little
show,
drained.
and then we also like to meet every kid after the show, regardless.
Yeah.
You know, just because it's that. I mean,
We're
that's
thankful,
something that I
you know?
remembered when I was a kid when I got to meet a band member at a show. I remember that for the rest of my life. So I'm like,
Who's
if I could
somebody you
give-
met at a show?
Oh my god, I think the coolest person probably was the lead singer of In Excess at the time.
Michael Hutchins.
No, it was
Oh,
JD
oh,
Fortune.
JD
It was the
Fortune.
one that
JD
came in.
Fortune.
Oh, the one that won the TV show?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So
yes.
our mom is friends with them from way back when.
I remember that was so
and
cool.
we were kids, and they let us sound check at MGM Grand.
Mandalay Bay in Las
Mandalay Bay.
Vegas.
They let us come up, and like I stood behind the drum set, and there's this cute little photo of me. I'm like that big, you know. And then he was like, "All right, you want to sound check?" And I was like, "Sure." And I think it was like that moment that like changed our lives, because there's very few people that will just be like, "Come here, yeah, I'll show you what this is all about."
And then yeah, it was that, and then we met the Hanson brothers.
That was the first concert we ever went to.
Oh,
and
really?
It
They were
was
so
it's the
sweet
three of
to
us
us.
with
They
the
were
Hanson
so
brothers.
nice.
And it's so funny. I'm really good friends with their other brother, Mac Hansen. He's a phenomenal artist, but it's so funny when I told him the story and I showed him the picture. He's like, that is the funniest thing. We're like this tall. Like,
Are you the same age as the three of the Hanson brothers?
I think it's funny because the middle brother is like the singer, the younger brother's the drummer,
Drummer,
and the
the
oldest is
the
the
guitar
guitar player.
player.
So we kind of just followed in the footsteps.
Were they your inspiration early
They-
on?
Yeah,
they-
for sure.
They
For
were.
sure.
Hanson
Sure.
was. Okay.
It's funny.
It was
It
the
was
coolest
like,
thing ever.
It was
Yeah.
like
So nice. It
they were
was
so
cool.
sweet and they were so talented. They were doing like Radiohead covers and like people don't like know the deep dives of Hanson, but they're
And the fact
fucking
that
talented.
the harmonies are insane.
I know.
They are talented. I had them on the TV gig I did.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful time
Yeah.
together.
It was.
And
it
then
was
I think another concert that changed our lives
Yeah.
was the Black Crows.
the Black Crows. That was the
saw the
second
Black
show we
Crows.
saw.
That was
So it was
really
Hanson and Black Crows, and you're
And
like,
then, and then my mom just took me to see Jet they were playing like the pool at
Band
the
from
Hard Rock
Australia.
or
Yeah.
something.
I was at that show.
Oh, really?
At the Hard Rock
really?
show.
Like way
Yes.
years ago.
Yes.
That's
Pool
so
one?
Yes, I
funny.
was at
Okay.
that show.
way.
So I was
So
probably
funny.
like 8 or 9
Yeah.
or something at that point.
Yeah.
And like my mom was able to get us back, and I was able to meet both of them, and they were off their rockers. They were like
But it
any
was the
drug
coolest
that
thing
you
we've
could think.
ever seen,
But
you
they
know?
gave me a moment. They gave me 2 moments just to say, you're gonna be a rock star. Like took a photo with me, and that changed my life. And I think as a kid, I identified just how special that moment is. If you give them 1 second and one just like, I acknowledge you and I'm appreciative of you. So like we've taken that to, I think, the next level of like, even when we played the Wiltern, I think we hugged 1,500 people.
Outside, yeah.
Like we finish our show,
Yeah.
we have a drink, and then we go out and we meet
It's
every
'cause,
single
like,
kid.
It's those
Good for
moments
you
are
guys.
So
Yeah. Good,
special
good, good.
'cause, like those changed our lives. Even I met Jared Leto when I was like 14, and he gave me like a weird little elbow bump, and he's like,
Yeah,
I
he
love
doesn't
your
like the
glasses.
handshakes. So,
Yeah.
And I was like, I remembered that forever. It was the coolest thing. And it just, if you take 2 seconds, 2 seconds to me is nothing. But if
you can change
I
someone's
can
life.
inspire some other kid to maybe follow in the footsteps, he can write the next, or she can.
Because that's the
write
whole
next
thing
great record, you know?
about
Right.
art and music in general is like it's almost like handing off batons to later generations. So it's like it's up to you. If you're in that position, it's so crucial that you inspire the younger generation, but also give a gateway for them to step in and continue the legacy.
And also, I've met a lot of rude bands and rude singers, and it kind of always dampened my mood, because even
You
when
can't
we're, like,
root for someone that's rude
Yeah.
to people that support you. I mean,
Exactly.
it's hard. Like I've come across bands over many, many years who they were a good band.
Yeah.
The nicest people to their fans that were there, and they weren't a big band. I'm like, I want this group of people to do so well in their career.
Yeah.
It just changes everything. It does.
And honestly, I think we were playing Sonic Boom. Yeah, Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
And then after our show, I'm like hyperventilating. I'm like, oh my God. And then Dave Grohl comes out of nowhere and just goes, that was awesome. And then he just starts talking to me about the weather. And I'm like, what is that? I was the nicest person I've ever met. And I was like, that's who I aspire to be. You see a lot of people in this industry, a lot of, not so nice ones. And it's a lot. It's funny. A lot of like the most successful acts in history are the sweetest people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Corey Taylor. He really took us under our wing, and
was super nice
He was
to
just
us.
super kind.
It was a funny pairing. It's like Stone Sour is obviously more but we're going out there and you're playing in front of a lot of Slipknot fans, more so than Stone Sour fans. It's like a combination of it. And it was shocking. The crowds were so nice.
They were
And
so sweet to us.
They were so sweet. I was like, well, I guess they just appreciate it. And then you go play with a 20 band bill to 300 kids in a room in Virginia, and you're getting beer bottles thrown at you. You're
Yeah.
like, how is this even
It's-
possible?
but
When
had
in
a
your
lot of
career
ups
did
and
that
downs.
happen?
Oh, that was
Yeah,
we
Second tour?
Oh, we did our first 5 or 6 tours were
As Palaye Royale,
was
right?
as Palaye Royale,
So you're
like-
out there, you're playing your instruments, you're
So
rocking out, you're looking
the first
good, you're
one
doing
was
your
we
thing.
did a high school tour, and that's
Okay.
how we got a record deal. So we were on a high school tour. It was great. We were playing
playing at
football
lunchtime,
fields. It was
you know.
it was cool. And the head of our label, Ash, came out and saw us, and he was like, "Come over to the house," and he signed us on the spot. We were living in our car. We were just evicted. It
I was like, he's like, I want to sign the band. I'm like, the only way possible is if
pay
you
our
give
rent.
me a check for like
To go get
$1,000
rent,
today,
to
so
go
I can
get-
go pay for a motel.
Yeah,
I was
we were
like,
staying
okay.
at the El Patio Inn in North Hollywood.
Yeah.
if you
Wow,
know of it.
I do.
Yeah. And then when
and
he
stealing
signed us,
food
it
from
helped.
7-Eleven.
But for the first, I would say 2 or maybe 3 years of our career, we would only open for metal bands.
Yeah, it was like death
Because
metal,
we just-
heavy
we
metal,
took any
metalcore
tour
bands.
we could possibly take, just because we were technically homeless when we got back home. Just so we were just
But
like,
we
let's
were
just stay out on the road.
We
We'll
were
take any
signed,
tour.
though, being signed
Yeah.
to a label that at that point they've definitely diverse and become more alternative and doing rock and doing a lot of different genres. At that time when we signed with Sumerian, it was very
metal.
like
To me though, looking back, I am beyond thankful for that because
made
like
this the
the
band we are.
essence of how we've become punk in the sense of like our show of like we're just mad. We only adopted that out of the safety of like if we don't start acting like lunatics on stage,
We're gonna get
we
our asses beat.
stuff thrown at us.
It was like people were throwing shit, trying to fight you. Like it was a whole thing every night, and you're in like little dingy like 200 caps with like a lot of people that
So
at that point.
it
You're
just
dressed
made
like
us
this
go
in those areas.
so
to
much
what, you know?
harder, and it definitely, we're so thankful for it, just because like it actually let us become the band that we are now. So we can't hate it.
And we can play any festival, and we don't care. We just come in and we
do our
act
thing.
like madmen and do our thing.
That's the way. You just got to stick to your guns.
Yeah.
Do what you know, do what you love, and people are going to follow you. And I think also, when it comes to your band specifically, it didn't happen with one song in 2019 and then you become the biggest band in the world. There is no doubt that you were this size one year, this year the next, or that, and then it's bigger, big.
Yeah.
That's the path that
The foundation.
all people should be on right there. If it just happens one time early on, you have to live up to something that is, unless you're like an A+++, it's very hard to maintain.
Yeah.
Honestly,
very
like
hard.
a career I think we've always admired and loved to follow is like Kings of Leon.
Just
Oh yeah,
Album
They're
after
just
album after
this
album.
constant rise and
playing the Forum, playing
Yeah.
big arenas,
Yeah.
put out some good songs. That is great right there.
Yeah.
Hold on. So you were born in Canada, right?
Yeah, I was born in
Sebastian.
Toronto.
And then where were you guys born?
Las Vegas.
Both in Vegas.
Yeah.
And then at what age did you move to Vegas?
I was like a year old. It was
A
right
year
before
old.
Emerson.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I claim Canada.
He's
very much.
still
Right.
he's sticking with his guns on it. You know?
But I think that's where honestly we adopted a lot of the like our stage performances. We have the Las Vegas signs. We kind of comprehended that like in Vegas everything's a facade. So like that comes to stage production design as well. You know, you're doing things and like the Killers and
Yeah,
Panic.
Killers.
I think he saw Panic at the
I
Disco's
saw Panic at the
first
Disco's
yeah,
first
she went
show.
to the same high school as Brendan Urie.
Yeah,
or
like I
Ryan
was
Ross.
going to go to their same high school. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, right.
So
when
you
they
saw one of their
graduated.
first shows in
I saw
Vegas?
the first show ever.
at the alley.
At
It
the
was
alley.
behind.
And what is the
a-
alley? It's in
It was-
downtown
it-
Vegas?
It was
behind a
it was a
music
music
shop.
shop that they were playing, and Pete Wentz just signed them, and so that was when they got their record deal. And I saw Panic at the Disco play.
What'd you
and
think?
It was terrible, but then I saw them like a year later, and then I saw them. That was
Was
like
that the Fallout Boy too?
I saw them probably like 10 times in like a 2 or 3 year span.
Every show just
Every
got
show just
better and
went
better and
but it
better.
just got better and better. And Ryan Ross was so great. Brendan Urie was so great. It was just like something I was able to. It was the only really the band I can connect with people I went to school with because it was more modern and because all the music I liked was Britpop. I loved like Oasis, and I really loved the Stones and the Faces, and it's a bunch of being a 12-year-old kid in high school in Vegas and trying to say, hey, listen to the Stones record. Everyone's like, we're listening to 50 Cent. You know what I mean? It was like such a bizarre thing. So I was trying to almost fit in, and Panic at the Disco was the one band that I was able to fit in with like the emo kids at school. You know, and it was a cool thing. But we're all like little preppy kids wearing like our suits to school and
But yeah, I
listening to Panic
remember
at the
like
Disco.
right after I saw their show with Fallout Boy, I was just like, I was hooked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god.
Who of the three of you was the leader early on that you should do something together musically?
That I think goes back down to our mom. She was like always
It felt like we just always done it. It's never been weirdly like a question. We never like had that conversation.
But
of, like, let's play
oddly
together.
enough, all three of us played ice hockey. We were super actually into it and everything. And then one day, Sebastian's ACL got torn because he got hit wrong.
Okay.
And that led him to being in recovery for months and months. And so we were all together. I think it was over a course of a summer or something. And because we're chess players and we always just do different things together. But music was the one thing that looped us in together, where it was like we enjoyed spending time together. We enjoyed being friends with one another.
Just creating songs, even though they were shit. It didn't matter. You just had fun, just jamming with your brothers, and you just and so it's never weirdly been a question. We actually never had a conversation saying let's be a band. It just
what we do.
just assumed yeah, of course we're a band.
Right. So the people that you are or who I was at 12 to 15 years old, and then when I was 20 to 25, it's 100% different.
Yeah.
So there was a time in your career where you're like, guys, what kind of music were we making? We want to go more of this direction, which is what you know of you now.
Yeah.
How did that take place?
That came when we moved to Los Angeles, I think 2011. We just were in a weird contract. We were doing, as probably everyone knows, we were doing Disney stuff way back in the day.
But that's fine. You
and
were
it's fine.
kids.
We were kids.
Yeah.
Kids,
It's fine.
it was like the most public
I'm
form
not
of
embarrassed about it.
puberty.
No, you shouldn't be.
We learned how to perform. The first show we did with that band was 7,000 people in Louisiana.
Also,
it was
and
crazy.
something I will give credit to the Disney formula is they taught you how to interact and treat your fans like holy. You know, they were like, you are honestly, you have to be grateful for all of this. And that's how we learned, like, even still to this day, we go and meet everyone.
Because it can go away so quickly.
Yeah.
And that's what we always knew. But we moved here, and then
it's crazy because, you know, the way we started out our career, we were just trying to be a pop rock band. You know, that was our goal. We just wanted to be, and then Sebastian just had this dire need. He's like, why don't you sound like Chris Martin? And I was like, I wish I did. Trust me. He's like, why can't you write clocks or the scientists? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I can't. I'll try. And so we tried the pop rock thing for a while, but I'm just like, and then, you know, puberty happens and my voice dropped a lot. And I just kind of discovered, I was just like singing, I think Black Crows, She Talks to Angels one day.
And Maggie May.
And then just like, I just kind of had like this like really raspy voice when I sang. And they're like, that's different. And I was like, well, it doesn't hurt. Yeah. And they're like, because it just hurt so bad, my voice to sing pop and clear. And I just like, I was straining all the time. And then I just kind of like let it loose. And they're like, okay, maybe we weren't meant to be a pop band.
Yeah.
And so we changed the band name.
And at that point, though, it was like the behind the scenes politics of when you're in that big of a machine. It's crazy. You have you have no say on anything type thing. And we were not about that. We're obviously very intuitive on the art that we want to make. And I think to me,
good to know that as a younger person to like, we respect, we love that we're getting the opportunity, but we are more of this sort of a group.
And I think it was actually spacing on the name of the lady that worked in Disney, but she would, like, she took us to the side and she was like, this route is not for you. Like,
she said, you're too dark for Disney. This is not going to work.
It's a great compliment, by the way. That is the best compliment ever, that you're too dark for Disney.
So we were kind of like fired, pretty much.
But
we're fired as like children.
Honestly,
you know what I mean?
What was a funny moment as well is, you know, Paul Weller.
From the Jam? The
Jam,
yes.
The fucking mod father.
Yes.
My mom's good friends with him, and we saw him randomly.
We saw him at the Wiltern.
A few years ago.
We
saw him at the Wiltern.
But he was the reason that I was like, he convinced my mom almost to let me drop out of school, which is kind of strange. But he was like, what, you want to be the Partridge Family, or your boys want to be rock stars, and this is how you do it if you want to go that route.
And so we pretty much we moved to LA.
We based our whole entire lives off of Paul Weller saying drop out of school.
Probably drunken advice.
Yeah, it was.
And so we pretty much based our whole life off that. But we literally ditched all of our last names. We changed our last names to our middle names so no one could kind of find us. We didn't let anyone know that we were brothers. We didn't like publicly promote it, and we pretty much spent 2 years in the basement of our house when we moved to LA, just jamming every fucking day. Because we're like, I remember Dave Grohl even said, you know, Nirvana didn't come out Nirvana. You know, it's three guys kind of sucking in a room for a long time, and then you eventually become that. So that's exactly what we did. We just fucking played as much as we could, and you know, we just kind of we messed around with a lot of ideas, and then played the Sunset Strip, and then just try to make some noise.
And then the high school tour was really what started it off.
Yeah.
Wow, and here you are right now in my guest bedroom, which is now a Tuna on Toast studio.
It's fantastic.
What a ride you guys have had.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We always say the documentary is going to be ridiculous. So.
Sebastian, a couple things before we get out of here quickly.
Yeah.
Your mom seems to be extremely important to the three of you.
Yeah.
Does she live in LA? Does she live in Vegas?
She does.
And do you see her often?
I talk to my mom probably every day for 30 minutes to an hour.
Our mom is Sebastian. Sure.
Yeah.
Was it just the three of you and your mom growing up then? It was.
Yeah, it was, you know, I think when we moved to LA, that was when our parents got divorced and it was just us. And
I guess a slight backstory on her. She was like the photographer and on tour with Johnny Thunders and Stiv Bators and New York Dolls and stuff. So it's like, I feel like
she saw it all.
We kind of came out as being like those kind of characters and figures. And you know, it's interesting.
Well, I give you guys all the kudos. I mean, seriously, you have built something that is huge, and it's only getting bigger. And we know Fever Dream is the name of the new album.
Yes.
I love the songs. I love you guys. Thank you
Love
so
you, man.
much for being on the show.
Thank you
so happy to have you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much, buddy.
Thank you.
You got to
That
come to
was
the shrine.
fantastic.
They are Palaye Royale. Find them on the road. Dig deep into all their music. And I am Ted Stryker. That's been our show. See you guys later. Hope you enjoyed. Now hit that subscribe button. And for more Tuna on Toast, listen wherever you get your podcasts.